to do that conversation with us. Time did not permit us to exhaust the issues that we had for him. But he has been so generous to be here with us this evening. And so, viewers, I have with me the part 2 of the conversation on national interest, Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam, again, you are welcome to What is Next.
Thank you.
We are very happy you've made the time. You are a very busy person. And the comment we had from our viewers last week, the conversation we had with you was very encouraging, both young and old. And we are so grateful for the time you've spent with us last week and even today.
Pleasure is mine.
Now, you are a Christian and a Christian leader in this country, but you're also a former member of parliament, a former president, Ghana Bar Association, at the moment, Council of State member. So you have a lot of politics also in you. Do you find any conflict between faith and politics?
Well, you see, it depends on people's approach to the subject. People enter politics because they feel that there are certain things which are wrong or incorrect or can be done a particular way in the country. And so they enter it with a view to influencing change, conduct, behavior, and prosperity of the people. Unfortunately, there are many others who enter it for their own personal gain, sometimes for the glory and the honor. You know, these days, being called honorable is meant to be some sort of a badge, special badge. People don't. In our time, it was irrelevant. But you see that even these days, assembly members are even calling themselves honorable. I don't know when the law was changed that gave them that. So you see that politics is actually meant to be society itself, how society can evolve, how society can develop, how society can function. And for society to function, it means that all these component parts must all work together. Some people say, oh, democracy is bad because it contains people of different opinions. I said, it is a misunderstanding that if you appreciate that two people may have different concepts and ideas, but the country belongs to all of them. And so it is the working together of all those different concepts and ideas and so on that help to build a society. Other than that, then it means that we'll be at loggerhead with one another all the time, or we think that the strongest person is the most powerful person. In the old days, that used to be where the strongest man says, sit down, and you must sit down. Stand up, and you stand up. Go to the farm and go and work. The Israelites were asked to go and make brick. And when they thought they were being lazy, they said, okay, now we will not even provide you with the straw. You must go yourself and cut it. But you must still make the same quantity of brick and the energy. That is slavery. That's a misuse of power. And so I do not see any conflict between religion and politics. I think the two work together. A study of the American history will show you that many of the most outstanding leaders that had governed America as president were first-class Christians. And that Christianity was portrayed in their conduct, their behavior, and the way they handle issues, and even the way they relate to people. So it's unfortunate that these days people think that religion should be one subject, politics should be another. Pastors cannot even stand in the pulpit and say, this is wrong. As soon as you say you are doing politics. And I say, but what is he supposed to do? To condone wrongdoing? If you condone wrongdoing, then you are also doing wrong. In fact, I told somebody that if you condone sin, you are a sinner. If you condone sin, then you yourself, you are a sinner. If I see someone committing a crime and I did nothing about it, I'm an accessory to that crime. I'm as guilty as the person who commits it. So I think these are the thoughts that I think that Ghanaians should learn to readjust their way of thinking and not tell the pastor that you cannot be in the pulpit and preach about wrongdoing. The pastor's duty is to point out what is wrongdoing, because the wrong things that people are doing affect the lifestyles of everybody else. As you said earlier on, the prosperity of Israel is the prosperity of who? Of every Israeli. Is that not correct? The prosperity of Ghana is for the benefit of every Ghanaian. I told somebody, I said, you read your Bible carefully. I said, the time of Solomon, they said gold was so plentiful that nobody wanted silver coin. And that, what's his name? Cedar wood was so plentiful that nobody wants an acacia wood. It means that time of Solomon, Israel prospered. He was the wisest man, he was also the richest man, but he was not accumulating wealth just for himself. He allowed the nation and the citizens to what? To prosper. And so this is what we also need in our country.
But we are very religious people. Christians, Muslim, traditional leaders. But sometimes it's like when they come to values, you ask yourself, do we have values? When people, faith people, religious people come to public life, it's that they don't allow their faith values to influence their politics. Rather, they allow politics to influence their faith values. I don't know your own observation.
Oh, no, you are absolutely right to the point. You are to the point. I have over the years, over the past 50 or all years when I've been around, involved in my law practice and church and the rest of them, this is what I notice all the time. You find out that people have misplaced values. But part of it I had noticed is I classified it and I say, do you know what destroys the human person? It's greed. It's greed. The desire for me. The desire for me to accumulate wealth so that they will know that I'm a rich man. The desire that I should have power and I will use it. They say it's a powerful man. It's a strong man. This is what is killing us. And I said, why will God give you wealth if it is not meant to be used for the ordinary people who have need? Why will God give you talent if that talent is not meant to be used for the people? The scientist who invents medicine, he does not invent the medicine for him to go and swallow. He invents so that he can use it to do what? To cure. And so when God gives you power, it is for you to use that power, you understand, in the interest of and for the benefit of the people. I think that it is so much self-centeredness, which I have noticed over the years. People are so self-centered. It's me. It's me. What is... If I this day you even ask them to do something else, what is in it for me? And I get shocked and I look back and I say, in it for you. You are a chief, right? And you are asked to do so and so and so. Or can you help to give some land so that we can build a toilet for the people, or a school, or a police station, or something for the people? And you're asking what is in it for me? Excuse me, it is something I want to say it's a nonsense question, but of course you have to be polite, so I cannot say it. But this is what I have seen going on all the time. And I tell people, I say, for God's sake, if the school is there, your own children will do what? Will also attend it. If the toilet is there, the people will not defecate, and then the flies fly about it, land on your food, and then you eat that food and you are sick and ill, and you have to go to hospital to be cured. Or sometimes if you are not careful, you don't even get there, and then you die before you get there. So is that not something which is in need for you? So what again are you asking about? So this unfortunately is the tragedy of our country, that religion is not having the effect it's supposed to have, because the religion is supposed to change our attitude and our mind. In sometimes I even tell some of the chiefs, I said, religion has its own culture, and that culture is meant to supersede every other culture that you have. Also a reminder that culture itself is dynamic. That means it changes. And as you embrace Christianity, your own cultural values are supposed to alter. Because now you are being told, love your neighbor as yourself. Now, that love, people think about sentiment. I say it has nothing to do with sentiment. It's conduct and behavior and relationship. That's what it is all about. That means if I love you, I will seek what? I will seek your welfare. I will seek your interest. I will seek what to benefit you. That is a show of love. It means if I have something, then I can say, all right, let's share it. Someone will say, oh, but what I have is not enough for me. And I say, you've forgotten something. There is a God. Just share it. The time you finish sharing, you'll be surprised. What you are afraid of that will not be enough may become enough for all of you to enjoy.
Uncle Sam, you have witnessed politics in Ghana at various periods around independence, under military rules, and the Fourth Republic. Now, Ghanaians, are we peace-loving people or are we bloodthirsty? Who are we?
It's a very difficult question to answer. But I would say that the way we behave towards one another, the way one tribe rises against another tribe, the way small thing is fiscus, the way, in fact, I was telling now I use driver, formerly I drive myself, and I was telling them that the only way you can observe the human behavior is on the road. That in the old times, before Agege, when you come on the road, someone is coming from the other side, that you stop and allow the person to pass. If you see pedestrians standing at the roadside, you will normally wait for them to cross, and then you drive on. Now, that is no longer the rule. Everybody is right. And so, the person is coming from a minor road into a major road. There's a great a white marker on the road to indicate that that's a major road. Instead of just stopping, look left and right before moving, he just drives onto the road. And then when the other person who has a right of way comes like that, he insults him rather. So, what does that show us? That we are peace-loving? I don't think we are. Although, I have to be cautious. If you compare us to some of the other countries around us, someone will say that we are a little better. we are a little better than some of them. But we could still do better, because I think we are one of the, what you can call, truly religious countries on this continent. And more so, particularly if you see the way the Christians and the Muslims have lived in peace. You don't find that anywhere else. There's absolute unity and peace between the two religions. That somebody say, oh, he's a Muslim. This one will say, oh, he's a Christian. I don't see it. Although, unfortunately, sometimes I see some of the Christians who go on the pulpit and they start like an attack. And sometimes I have to caution them, and I say, it's the wrong way to win souls. That if you know how to win souls, go back and read Paul in Athens. That when he went and he walked around, he saw there were so many temples. And he observed them. And then he saw that there was one to the unknown God. And the Athenians, they think that the embodiment of all knowledge. Everybody else is an idiot. Every other tribe is an idiot. The Athenians are the people, the intellectuals who can argue and reason things. But Paul went to them and I said, well, see, you are so extremely religious. But going around, I noticed that you have a temple even to the unknown God. This is the one that I want to talk to you about. And that's the way he warned them. They said, this is ignoramus. What on earth is he talking about? Some say, the man seems to be raising some new issues. So let's listen to him more and more. And what happened? One of the rulers got converted. One of the leading ladies got converted. And that was the way they made the inroad. So this is what I caution everybody. I said that you don't win people by attacking them. You win them by persuasion and also by conduct and behavior. I think people are more interested in seeing your conduct and your behavior than even the words that come out of your mouth. And so this is the way I look at our society and say that perhaps there is room for us to work again better to bring about peace and unity in our country, because we need that unity and peace in order to progress.
Indeed, we need that unity in order to progress. This is what is next, and I'm in conversation with lawyer Sam Okudzeto, a former member of parliament, a former president, Ghana Bar Association, and at the moment a member of Council of State, and the subject is national interest. Uncle Sam, we have violence in our politics. The violence is manifested in hate speech, insult in media. It is seen both inter and intra, especially the two leading political parties, MPP, NDC, and then within, in fact, within MPP primaries, and you see blood, and within NDC, primaries, you see blood. What are the trigger factors of violence? Tracing it from the things you have seen, independent, the military, and what is we are witnessing now, because the fact remains that there's too much violence in politics in Ghana.
Well, it's true. Pre-independence, when the CPP was carved out of the UGCC, a lot of violence evolved at that time. I recollect that at that time, for a CPP person to enter Kumasi, it's like you are going to a war zone. And some people they actually nailed them. They put a nail on their head and knock you like that, and then dump them into a latrine. Literally, and then dump them in the latrine. Much of this is
this country.
In this country,
witnessed that.
And I am telling you, in this country, it's now that people want to bury all those things as if they never happened, but they did happen. And anybody who disputes it, we can go back in the history to trace it back to them. I was old enough to know what went wrong. So we saw all that. But we also saw within that same period situations whereby in Arena you see Kwabena arguing, and then you see Busia responding. And these things are reported in the paper. And it was lively kind of, you can call it discourse. This one says this one says that. But within the same period and over those periods, you will see what evolved, which I was telling you about, this selfishness, where self-centeredness, where now we think that politics is money. Because I was telling someone that the allowance that we were given when I was in parliament was so small that I never even touched it. I was dependent on my law practice. And I even remember that our young colleagues that came from the north, they were our school teachers who won the election. That many of them couldn't even afford to go back to their constituencies to go. So we had to collect money and pay for their passage so that they can go home to go and see that. So we were not in it for money because there was no money in it. But now it's like people see it as a grandeur position, a privileged position, a place that you can make money. And so people are prepared to do anything just to get there. And I think this accounts for this violence that we are seeing, whereby even primary in a political party, your same party, same people in it, instead of rather for us to sit down and say, okay, who do we think that in this area can go and represent us in parliament and speak for us? Or perhaps maybe even become a minister so that he can influence development in our area. No. Now it is I must go. And how dare you stand against me? And so violence even comes in. And then even the amount of money which is being spent, sometimes it's even scary in some of these primaries. And you ask, where do they get the money from? If they borrow it, how will they pay it back? So this then brings in corruption also at the same time. So I am afraid there is a lot that we need to learn and educate ourselves. But perhaps we were talking previously about you, the religious leaders, and that you are not making your influence felt by educating the people.
You mean the religious leaders?
The religious leaders, because the parties themselves have nothing, no machinery within the party to educate the party members, which is unfortunate. There's no machinery in any of the political parties that educate the political party members. So sometimes it's like they even encourage the young one to go and be used as instruments of abuse, insults, and the rest of them. And they think it's okay. And sometimes to vandalize public property, they think it's okay. So this is what I'm saying, that if we don't have institutions that can be able to help to educate. I used to joke and say that maybe I need to set up a school for politicians. I was joking with some of my council of state chiefs, and I said, I think we need to set up a school for the chiefs, because there are certain nuances they are unaware of, certain manipulations they are unaware of. Look at the man who comes dressed nicely and comes and says he's a businessman, he's an investor. So give me 100 acres of land, and I'm going to build this. And the chief will take a pen and paper and sign for him. And then the next moment, that person goes and sells that land to developers. It's huge millions. And the chief is there poor, his people are poor. And somebody has gone and make a fortune out of them. So these are part of the education that I am thinking about. That if we do not educate the people to begin to appreciate that it's one country, it's for all of us. Whoever goes to parliament, that's God's grace. God put somebody there. Let's encourage that person while he's there. Not to look at his personal interest, but to look at the interest of the people within the community. What he can do and bring that can benefit the people within the community.
Uncle Sam, you are here to set up your political
school
to educate people. But I just want you to look straight to this camera and talk to Ghanaians, especially the two leading political parties. Now, inter and intra, they are manifesting violence that can be said to be unhelpful. They are destroying themselves within, within NDC, within MPP, and then they bring that also. And now, today, you start your school on what is next. Please educate.
This is to the leadership of MPP and NDC in particular, but it applies to other political parties. For you to appreciate that there's only one country which is called Ghana, and all of us are born into this country, or even those who are from outside and they came and they settled here. This is what they have. The interest of this nation requires peace and unity. We can have different ideologies if such a thing exists. We can have different ways of interpreting issues. We can have different arguments to raise for the doing of things and the like. But that is not a reason why there should be violence employed to do that. Someone said that it is better to jaw than to war. That means it's better for us to sit down and discuss issues. So they have inter-party committees. Why don't they sit down within? You sit down within your inter-party committee and discuss issues about the nation and the way forward. And then you can go back and say, okay, we think that we can solve it this way. And the other party also says that we also can solve it this way. That's a healthy kind of discourse. I think it's better than this violence, which is our young kids are also learning, because you, the elders, are not setting any example for them. So this is my plea to you, and say that we have only one Ghana. It belongs to all of us. The prosperity of the country endures as prosperity to each individual, young and old. Violence does not help anyone. The countries where there has been violence, you can see that the country is dismembered. You can see that they are poor. You can see the people are suffering, even though they have resources just as much as we have. So our resources can be used for the benefit of our people if only we will stop this warfare, this insult, these abuses. Your disagreement with your political opponent does not need to involve insult or abuses. Because once you insult or you abuse a person, you allow the other person also to do what? To retaliate. And that is not healthy for our society. So this is my plea.
This is what is next on GTV, the authentic and trusted voice of Ghana. Uncle Sam, it's like our politicians are not enthused in sending disputes to court. Do we have enough laws to handle electoral disputes?
Yes, I think I forgot when I was coming. There was a whole compendium compiled by the Chief Justice for electoral dispute resolutions, where they put down all the various rules and the ways and manner, the applications that you can make to the court, how to make the application to the court, the timeline for it, all are compiled into this book. Now, oftentimes people are afraid to go to the court because of the results which they themselves can anticipate. Most of the time they know they are going to lose the case. And so instead of going to the court, they rather try and see that if they can create as much commotion and confusion as possible, and then they can win. How, I do not know, because after all, they forget. We have the police. And the police are not part of any party, political party. And so if you misbehave, what will they do? They will arrest you, isn't it? And they will take you to court. These days, they even take them to court. They go and bribe a witness not to appear or to change his mind. And they think by virtue, that's what you want. But I tell people that if the truth is not involved in it, no matter how far you will play around with it, you will be caught. So it is better that if there's a dispute, that's why the courts exist. Reverend, you see that many towns and villages come and they say, we want a police station. Why do they do that? Because the police are called peace officers. They are not what people think that they are, there to arrest people and lock them. No, they are peace officers, which means that they are there if there is a problem in the community. They actually, they can actually resolve the matter without taking it to court.
But they do lock people. They arrest people and they lock them.
Oh, yes. Locking up is just part of the machinery, in the sense that sometimes they will lock up the person to prevent that person being molested and beaten by them.
Uncle Sam, sometimes your money is with me. Somebody can go to the police, get the police, and they will come and just hook me to the police station.
Yes,
Somebody's,
that is the misuse of power and authority of the police. A matter that many of us have taken up with the police all the time, to say that educate your young people too much. So, that civil matters are not matters for the police. They are matters for the court. The person can go to a lawyer and sue. Or he can even go to magistrate court and then fill the form himself. He does not need a lawyer, and put that matter before the court. So a lot of this was just a corruption that comes in, meaning that the person is paid some money, the police officer is paid some money, and then he comes to lock you up. Or sometimes the gimmick, they arrest you on Friday when they know that there are no court sitting. So they lock you up so that you spend the weekend in prison to show them where power is. Because the person has threatened him and say, I'm going to have you locked up. And so the police are called. That is the misuse of authority and power for which we need to educate and continue to educate the police about. But I'm just saying that they are meant to be peace officers. They are instruments laid down by the state in order to bring about peace and unity within the community. And therefore, if they see wrongdoing, they are supposed to take you to court.
But the delay in our court, you are former President, Ghana Bar Association. 2012, 2013, 2012 election brought us to the Supreme Court 2013. It took how many months?
Yeah.
Some members of parliament will go to court, and the whole 4 years, they will still be going to court. And I think this also affects the public trust in our law court, especially electoral disputes.
That one was unfortunate. It was unfortunate, but I can assure you that the procedures and the machinery which is laid down is different from that. Now, there is a process by which they can have expeditious trial of many issues. The processes, the procedure have been enhanced and improved. In fact, there is even an electronic system now whereby things can be done electronically, that even in the court process, instead of waiting for transcripts, the thing is done almost instantly, so that the matter can be heard and disposed of as quickly as possible. So the judges are, let's say, the Chief Justice and his machinery are very conscious of these matters. And so they've put improvements in place now to enhance this process. Because delay, if a person is taken to court because he has stolen the votes and he sits now in parliament, or he was even disqualified, yeah, he stood, and then you take an action, and the action takes 4 years. That time the man would have served as an MP or enjoy all the benefits of it. It defeats the purpose. So I think the Chief Justice and the court system are quite conversant of this now, and they try to put machineries in place, and by assigning specific judges now to specific issues, so that they can dispose of this as quickly as possible.
Very assuring.
Yes.
Uncle Sam, you have recently urged President Nana Akufo-Addo to revisit the recommendations made by the Constitution Review Commission. What is in the report that calls for the urgent attention?
Well, you know, the 1992 Constitution, the Constituent Assembly was boycotted by the Bar Association because they brought hairdressers and all manner of groups which we know next to nothing about constitution or constitutionalism or constitution making to clog the Constituent Assembly. On hindsight, I have regretted that the Bar boycotted it. They should still have been there to influence it. But you will see there that if you read that constitution carefully, there is so much over concentration of power in the president. And that was done by the PNDC chaps in the Constituent Assembly because they don't want power to go away from their leader. So much so that you find out that even in these assemblies, a lot of the appointments were made by the president. All institutions of state, he appoints the board and the chairman and the rest. All that is what is there. And you see even the municipal chief executives, they are appointed by him. Now they are calling themselves mayors. But in all civilized societies where mayors exist, mayors are elected people. The people elect the mayor. So the mayor is answerable to whom? To the people. And if he didn't do his work properly, they will move him out or ensure that he's not re-elected. So all these powers are taken away completely from this constitution. And so the Constitutional Review Commission has gone into all this, and many of us have made presentations to them. And the recommendations that they have made was to try and take away some of this excessive power, and even to have the MMCDCs elected. Now, the draft document was taken, and apparently the president issued a white paper, which of course he has no business doing, because this is not like an ordinary commission. The report is supposed to go to the people and let the people debate and discuss it and then vote upon it. Not the president say, I like this one, I don't like that. And so this matter has been shelved. And my plea is that bring it back. Even if it means...
You still want to plead to the president
to
bring it back?
All right, this is my plea to...
Who knows? Maybe he's watching us.
All right.
Okay.
Even if somebody else will watch and tell him.
Yes.
My plea to the president is that, yes, maybe the year is almost getting to an end, but there's no reason why that document cannot be brought back. And let's relook at it. Even if it's not this year, next year, we can vote upon it and have a proper amendment. Not just piecemeal. The piecemeal doesn't work. Let's look at the holistic approach to the whole document and see that for the purposes of governance, it is better that power is diffused. And when power is diffused, the concentration of power is always dangerous. In fact, it's dangerous even for you, the president, because you cannot know everybody. So you find out that people are lobbying for you to be appointed to this board and to chairman of this board and to that board, but they have their own agenda as to why they are making those kind of lobbying for the purpose. And then when they go there and they do the wrong thing, you, the president, you are blamed for something you know next to nothing about. And I would rather that you as president, you are blamed for what you believe in and you have done, rather than what other people have abused their position, their power, and the rest to do. So this is my plea.
You seem to support the fact that our constitution supports the winner takes all.
Well, that is the way it is crafted. That's what I'm saying, that the way the constitution is crafted. Because I heard people saying that, Akufo-Addo is a lawyer, so why can he not do? I say, no, he cannot change the constitution. So you are asking him to do what is really impossible for him to do. The only way that thing should be changed was for the document itself to be changed, so that the concentration of power is no longer there. So that when we talk about decentralization, it will actually mean that the power is decentralized. That people in Accra elect their members of assembly, right? They elect their mayor. They supervise how they use this and like that. If rubbish is part of here, I will have the right to tell my assembly member and say, if next week I see that rubbish there again, next time I can assure you, you will not go to that assembly, because I will campaign against you. This one he will say, but you belong to the same political party as I belong to, so what are you talking about? That one, that doesn't come into it. So this is what the decentralization is about. So decentralization is so important for governance processes, because in a country over 30 million or so, one person, it is too much of a headache for him to put all those burden upon him, that even for him to supervise even the ministers that he has appointed, how much more you are talking about assemblies and MDCs and so on and so forth, unit committee members and the rest. It's impossible.
But it's like when they are in opposition, they feel it. They feel that winner takes all is not helpful. But when they are in power, they close their eyes.
That one is very true. I've seen it.
All of them. We've seen NDC in power and how they reacted and responded to winner takes all.
That's right.
Now they are in opposition.
I heard them crying, and I heard them crying. I also confronted them the same way. I say, if you know the thing was wrong, why did you do it? Why did you continue to do it? So now we're talking about national interest. Mm-hmm. These are the issues that I say that in the national interest, let's put our party caps aside and sit down and say, okay, look, what is the proper machinery for governance in our country? So let's all agree upon it. So once we agree upon it, we can put this in the document. We all sign it. It's binding on all of us. Then it does not matter which party is in power.
Because now in the constitution, all the natural resources are under the direct control of the president.
That's correct.
You know, so now you find MPP people are happy.
Yeah.
But yesterday they were in opposition.
That is so.
And they were crying.
Yeah, I know.
Now, if we don't take care, they will, what happened this year, but it will continue like that. When they are in opposition, and they will feel it.
Yeah.
Who will let them know that this thing, if it is not good, it is not good? Don't wait till you are in opposition and then you want the whole world to know that you are feeling it.
Yeah, it's so for this is the contradiction that you have noticed and I have noticed all around, and we keep telling people that let us do something which is lasting, and because it is good, because it is the Bible says that which is noble, isn't it? Mm-hmm. and praiseworthy. Mm-hmm. That which is noble, which is true, which is praiseworthy. Then let us look at the matter and say that, okay, what we are going to do now, will this not be noble? Will it not be the truth? Will it not be praiseworthy? So that it does not matter who is there. And also, as I said, if you diffuse the institutions they are, it also means that if something is here, then we are going to find the right person to manage it, or the right people to manage it. And so it does not mean that it has to be my party members. Because I keep saying that there are a lot of talent in this country. I mean, I have been around the country and I rub shoulders with a lot of people, and I've seen people with so much knowledge, and I travel abroad often, and I meet the Ghanaians over there, and some of them are exceedingly brilliant people who are holding positions of importance, helping other governments, America, Canada, United Kingdom, and so on. Those talents could easily have been here to help to build our country to be a showpiece. But if you mention a name, oh no, that man does not belong to our party. But that man is not in Ghana. Why are you asking him to come back here? We are here, what we... But the man is a Ghanaian. And his talent and knowledge is benefiting some other people. Why can't that person come and benefit us? Do something that will be a benefit to. So I think these are part of the contradictions that I make a plea to the politicians and say, look, it's our country. It's a rich country because God has endowed it with so much, and there's no reason why we should be begging. So when we are even talking about being self-sufficiency, that is what it's all about. But I'm saying that the self-sufficiency can only be done by human beings. We can add their talent to the resources. Now, Israel. I have been to Israel many times. I actually went to Hebrew University. Now, you will see that we went and slept a few days in the kibbutz. And talking to these people, I saw them in the farm and the rest. When I checked their background, some of these are PhDs. Some of them came from Russia. Then they were explaining to me then that when they came, they were using hand to plant, seeds. And then some of the engineers say, so why don't you have a tractor? Then we can sit at the back of the tractor. As the tractor is moving, we put the seeds in the soil. Then others came and say, why don't you just invent a small machine that instead of you putting the thing, the machine itself will do the planting. And this is how things were invented like that, and then patented. Did you hear something called drip irrigation? Mm-hmm. Where, like a rubber hose, is on the ground. Now, it's near the tree, and it provides water to the tree when the tree needs it. The water is not wasted. Now, this was invented by the same people from the kibbutz. And so, this is what I'm talking about, to say how talent is available that can be used for the benefit of everybody. And that's when somebody asks a question and say, okay, in the kibbutz, say, what party do you belong to? That's immaterial. It's for everybody in Israel. And they patent it, they are selling the patent, they are making money. That money is for who? It's for Israel. And so, let's just relook at the whole issue again and begin to appreciate that. The Ghanaians, next up, I think the president has been trying to woo not only the Ghanaians or even the blacks to come home. But my concentration would have first been, let's woo the Ghanaians to come home and let the others also come. But the talents that they have, they will use it. At one time, I remember almost like a dream. I think I gave the William Ferrata lectures, and one of the things I said was that God was saying that, let my people come home. Bring them from the north, bring them from the south, bring them from wherever they are. And they will come with the wealth of the nations wherein they dwell. And this nation will be rebuilt and to become a showpiece. And people from all over will be asking and say, Ghana, how did you do it? How did you do it? And we say, that's God's grace. That's the grace God has given to us. So this nation can be developed if we put this party matter aside. Begin to appreciate that the country is for all of us. We can use any talent, anyone who has talent. That talent should be
MPP or
it
NDC,
does completely
CPP.
Immaterial. The talent should be used for the benefit of the people. You remember Dr. Mohammed B. Chambers? Mm-hmm. Now, who sponsored him to go to that job there?
At least he was with PNDC,
NDC.
NDC.
That's what it was good for. Which means that we can put party aside and use people with talent, and look at where he is and see the fantastic job he's doing, making Ghana proud.
Uncle Sam, for the first time in the political history of Ghana, we are going to have two presidents, one former president, one sitting president contesting the presidential office. Now, our politics are being characterized with attacks and insults, but how do we protect these two gentlemen that we don't treat them as ordinary people in the campaign?
Well, one, it depends upon, or should I say, suggestion would be to they themselves, that they themselves should conduct themselves as gentlemen and as leaders. Because, you see, oftentimes you find out that the respect that is given to you is due to your own conduct and behavior. Because if you descend to the gutter and begin to insult and abuse people, what do you expect? You will expect that the gutter boys will insult you and abuse you as if you are part of them, because you have descended to their level. So that would be my first suggestion, would be that they should behave themselves in their decorum, particularly in their utterances. And if their own party supporters make utterances which denigrate from that, then they should be first quick to come and point out and say, no, what you did is wrong. You have no business insulting.
You expect President Nana Akufo-Addo and former President John Mahama to come out and condemn statement coming from their own.
Exactly. They themselves should condemn the statement coming from their own. Because that's the only way they can send a signal to those people and say that party politics is not meant to be an insult. Because for a person to have risen to become president of Ghana, that's not a small position. That's the highest position. I remember my young friend, Gerald Frifa. I remember he wanted to go back into politics. And I went to him and I said, Kwasi, what is the highest position anybody can occupy in this country? Is it not head of state? He said yes. And I said, you were there before, was that not correct? Is this true? And I said, then why do you want to descend? That's a position of honor for which everybody will be looking up to you and respecting you and cheering for you. So don't go and get yourself involved in politics. So now, unfortunately, the person has been president already, but he still wants to stand again. Well, since I'm not the one to advise him not to stand, but he's standing, all I would say is that let's accord him the respect that is due to former head of state. But let his party people also accord the current president, who is also standing for re-election, the same respect that they expect to be given to their own party person.
The late Colonel Ike Echampong jailed you, put you into prison. But at a point, you took care of his daughter, Nanasewa Echampong. Was it difficult to forgive your enemies? A man who had jailed you, and after the 1979 experience, you ended up taking care of his daughter. Somebody supposed to be your enemy.
Well, let's put it this way. You use the word enemy, and I've also cautioned...
Supposed to be your enemy.
Supposed to. I've often cautioned people about the use of that word enemy. Okay. And I said, yes, he sent me to prison. He was in difficult situations that he was in. I don't know the influences around him that made him collect us and locked us up. But when 79 he was executed, I actually cried. I said, why? I mean, why do you have to kill them? If they've done something wrong, they should be tried in a court so that I let the court punish them. Up to today, as I was telling somebody, there's no record to show what the trial was all about. But when his daughter, I met in the law school, I said, I mean, you cannot fail loving Sawa. I mean, she's such a sweet girl that I thought that I should be a father to her, to help her in her career. So I took her to my chambers, and I am happy where she is. But then that brings me to another issue that you were talking about. It's a subject we were actually studying at the Christian education at the Christ Church. And the book we were dealing with was called Total Forgiveness. And I'm trying to tell people that when you do not forgive those who have hurt you, you are hurting yourself. Because, we all recite the Lord's Prayer. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who have trespassed against us. Then we recite it, right? Mm-hmm. And I told people that if you remember Joshua, he says, these are what? Curses, and these are blessings. Choose what? Blessings. And so in that prayer, there are both blessings and curses that many Christians do not appreciate. But then, if you read verse 14 and 15 of that same things like that, it was quite clear that Jesus said it. He said, if you forgive, God will forgive you. If you do not forgive, God will not forgive you. Quite clear, plain words. But I realized that many Christians never read that. And it's not even being preached from the pulpit. And I say, you don't understand. Every day you recite that prayer and you do not forgive, you are cursing yourself. And somebody said that if you hate someone, it's like you are drinking poison. And then you are expecting the person against whom you have a problem to die. You are drinking the poison and you are expecting him to die. I said, that is what is not forgiving. That's what it's all about. And so my preoccupation in my Christian faith is, I say, total forgiveness. Forgive just as your Father, Heavenly Father, has forgiven you. Or as you will expect him to forgive you. And not only to forgive, bless him. That's the one people find more difficult. I say, bless him. But I say, what God does with the blessing is none of your business. You are only obeying God because that's what he says you should do. What he does with the blessing, that one is in his hand, not in your hand. He may let that person prosper, right? Or he may punish him. But that nothing to do with you. But I would rather that you pray that he's prosper and that he does prosper.
Uncle Sam, are Ghanaians legacy minded?
I don't believe so. That is actually the tragedy. This is
your last word to my viewers.
this is the whole tragedy. I said that each one of us has been put into position in which we are in by God for a purpose. And so we should see, what can I be remembered by? All the time what you're doing, ask yourself, what am I leaving behind by which I can be remembered? And the little legacy I want to leave people is that live at peace with yourself and also with others. Take hatred out of yourself. Don't live for yourself. Live for everybody else who may have need, either sometimes just a word from you or a penny from you. I walk in the mornings, oftentimes I have sweets in my pocket. And so when I see the little children going to school like that, I give it to them. I say they are excited.
Which is very sweet. Viewers, this is the time we can have on What is Next with Uncle Sam, lawyer Sam Okudzeto, on What is Next. We've been discussing national interest, and he's ending the program with us with the need for us to be legacy minded. Mm-hmm. We will come your way same time next week. But till then, let us be committed to the national interest. This is the only country we have, and it will take Ghanaians to build this great nation. May God bless our homeland Ghana and make this country great and strong. My name is Kwabena Opuni-Frimpong. Uncle Sam, on behalf of my viewers, we are so grateful. Very, very grateful.
It's my pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you.